sex. What can Christians do in the bedroom? What a question! It gets our attention. But this is a real question. And it is not a funny one at that. And actually I think this is a very responsible question. And I hear it more and more often from young Christians preparing for marriage. What can we do in our bedroom? What is sinful and what is not? Where do such questions come from? We may wonder. I guess from what we see and experience in wider culture. Whatever humanity has ever thought to do with their bodies for the sake of pleasure, today that is all on display. On our screens, in our pockets. Children at shockingly young age are exposed to those things in their schools. The questions are genuine and the concern is real. How to answer this question? I have struggled. The answer isn't exactly obvious. You cannot just say, go to Proverbs chapter 34, verses 10 to 25. Don't even go there. So I will share the answer that I have settled on for now. And if you have biblically more faithful or practically more applicable answers, don't keep them to themselves. Put them in the comment section. So first, some big picture notes. As for almost everything else, God's revelation in the Bible gives us the highest and the most beautiful view on sexual intimacy. It is a wonderful gift of the Creator God, who has designed us, men and women, in such a way that we are privileged to share with Him in His work of creation, producing new life, new human beings who are destined to live forever. How beautiful and majestic is that? So, the more precious the gift, the more carefully we should receive it. And that sounds like a common sense. And thus, the triune God has provided for us some instructions. The gift of sexual intimacy is to be received and enjoyed between a man and a woman who have committed to one another to love and serve, to rejoice and mourn, to toil and celebrate, to play and laugh together, till death do part them. Because that is where the fullness of the gift of sexual pleasure can be received and enjoyed. Where not only our bodies, but also our very souls, our deepest being is joined together. Where sexual intimacy is about everything that God the Creator designed it to be, not only one selected bite of it. Now, what sexual acts are sinful and what are not? Can we do this? And what about that? I think the categories of sinful and not sinful are not the most helpful in this situation. The triune God has created us with bodies that can bring us heaps of sexual pleasures with many senses. He has given us eyes to enjoy our spouse, ears to delight in their voice and what they say, smell to feel the fragrance of their bodies, lips to taste them, and whole bodies to touch and embrace. Plus imagination to delight and dream about our loved one. And besides, the sense of complete trust and safety. That is all given for us to enjoy one another. And of course, it doesn't always work out that way in this broken world as we know it too well. Nevertheless, rather than talking about sinful and not sinful, I would suggest categories of healthy and not healthy, healthy or not healthy. There are things we could do to produce bodily sensations and very intense ones. Perhaps we would like to do that inspired by what we have seen on our little screens, desiring to experiment. But when we look at our bodies, it's quite clear that every part is designed with a certain purposes in mind. Not everything that we could do is healthy for us or for our spouse. And there is more information available than ever about what are possible health effects for this and for that. Do not be lazy. Dig them up. Besides, not everything honors our spouse as God's gift to us. We don't want to objectify them and to make them feel as simply pleasure-producing warm bodies. When we enter marriage, we commit to love one another, and love does no harm. We do not want to harm our spouse, neither body nor soul. And it's not wise to harm our body or soul either. So that's roughly the answer I have settled on for now. And you can find much more on the topic of sexual intimacy and marriage and secrets for happy marriage and how to avoid divorce and much more on weisberg.com.au, and search for Wisdom for Relationships course. Wisdom for Relationships course. I would be curious to hear your feedback. I would. And may God's wisdom help you to enjoy beautiful and satisfying sexual intimacy with your spouse.